at what we found. It's a big sound in a small town. Far from the bright lights, they're making music every night. Hear what is all around. It's a big sound in a small town. It's a big sound in a small town. It's a big sound in a small town.
Hi, and welcome to Big Sound Small Town. I'm your host, Sandy Carlton, and this is a podcast about the lives and stories of the musicians, writers, artists, and their associates that have their roots in the small towns and communities across America. If you like what you hear, tell somebody. Enjoy.
Hi, everybody. My name is Trey Hensley. I am a guitar player, singer, and a songwriter, originally from East Tennessee, Johnson City area, living in Nashville, Tennessee now. And do a little bit of everything, but I mainly play in a duo gig with great dobro player Rob Ickes. And just living the dream as much as I can.
Sounds like you are living the dream. I mean, I mean, Rob is a very talented guy too. Actually,
Yes.
How did that come about?
So I met Rob for the first time back in probably 2003. And I was, I guess, 13 at the time, and I was sitting in with Earl Scruggs band. And I guess it was the Tennessee Theater there in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay.
And Rob, of course, was playing in the Earl Scruggs and Friends band. And
right.
So we met there for the first time. And then through the years, I opened some gigs for Blue Highway, and our paths crossed quite a bit. And then I sang on that Blue Highway record. The record was The Game.
Right.
And so when I moved to Nashville, it was kind of thanks to Rob. I moved to Nashville when I was recording that record. Recording on that record, he gave me a call and was very nice and just said if there was ever anything he could do to help, to let him know. And I kind of told him that me and my wife were thinking about moving to Nashville, and of course he was, very supportive of that. And so, a few months later we did move to Nashville, and Rob and I got together and just played the Station Inn a few times. And we started working on that Before the Sun Goes Down record.
Right, yeah, we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah, I mean, that was just kind of, so I moved to Nashville like July of that year, and we started working on that record in November with really no roadmap at all. I mean, we just kind of went in and started picking with, the musicians on the record, and very live, just totally sitting around picking. And yeah, so that's sort of how we got going. I mean, we have, it's been our main gig, for the past 5 years or so. So yeah, it's been great, man. I love playing with Rob.
Yeah, Rob's fantastic musician, no doubt. Well, did I read somewhere like maybe your vocal on that first Mountain Heart was just like a scratch vocal? Yeah,
man. So it was totally. So they were going to go with. They were going to have a special guest on the song. The song on that record is "My Last Day in the Mine," and
right.
And so they needed somebody to do a scratch vocal, so they could all do the track live and not have to worry about overdubbing anything. And so the guy that owns the studio where they record is a good buddy of mine. Bobby Starnes is a great songwriter and a singer and a picker. And so he just kind of recommended me, said that, call Trey, he'll come in and do it for you. And so, yeah, I just went in there and I, sang the song behind the engineer's chair, reading the lyrics off, and then left. I didn't think anything of it other than being really excited that I got to hang, in the studio with Blue Highway. And then I guess about 2 weeks later, they called me and said that they were just going to leave my scratch vocal on the record. And it thrilled me. I mean, I love that band. It's one of my all-time favorite bands, and so to get to be on their record was really cool. But yeah, it was just totally a one or two times, in the studio, and yeah, they left it on there. So that was very cool.
That is really cool. Was that a one pass? I mean, did you do that in one pass?
Yeah, I mean, they did. I think they did 2 takes of it. So wow. I don't know which one. I mean, but they kept the whole vocal from one of the takes.
That is really cool.
Yeah, man, I was thrilled to get to hear that, when they added their harmonies and everything to it. That was super cool.
I bet it was. I bet that was really cool. So you did you start your career kind of in Knoxville?
Yeah, I mean, so I grew up, Jonesboro, Johnson City area, and yeah, I mean, that's really where I started picking at. I met Marty about 6 months after I started picking. Marty Stuart, he was playing the Appalachian Fair in Johnson City, and somehow my dad, got me backstage to meet him there. But yeah, I mean, really, it kind of started there, and I played a lot in Hilton's, Virginia, there at the Carter Fold.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah, so yeah, anywhere really around East Tennessee, and before I started playing guitar, I sang in churches. There's a local gospel group I guess when I was like six until I turned 10. I started playing guitar when I was 10. So I made some cassette tapes, when I was a kid, and so I traveled around even before I started playing guitar. And so yeah, it's been something I've been doing for a long time, before I can remember.
So I guess you started out as a gospel singer.
Yeah,
I mean, in theory, anyway.
In theory, yeah, it was. I grew up with my granddad listening to his records, and
right.
And that's what got me going. Was the Hank Williams, anyway, anything from Hank and all the way to Flatt and Scruggs and Bill Monroe, and so yeah, I mean that kind of stuff is what I loved and what I still love to sing and pick.
That. All right, tell me about the first time you played on the Opry. I think my listeners really like this story. Yeah,
so that first time, I guess I'd been playing. So I'll preface it with the story of meeting Marty. I'd been playing for 6 months, and I had this big felt guitar case, and I wanted Marty Stuart's signature on it. And so my dad saw where Marty was going to be playing the Appalachian Fair, and somehow got me backstage to meet Marty. And kind of unbeknownst to me, my dad went up to Marty and said, Marty, my son loves your music and he'd love to play you a song, which, I did. Marty was one of my biggest heroes, still is. And,
cool,
but I was,
guy.
but that moment I was very unprepared to play Marty a song, but I did. Yeah, he was kind enough to let me play, for him while he was signing autographs, and so I sat behind him and I played Jimmy Brown. And as soon as I played the first guitar solo, which is what I tried to learn from Earl, he turned around, because it's a very particular thing. It is the way Earl played it, and so he recognized where I'd gotten it from, and so we already had that kindred sort of bond going. And he asked me to play that night with him on his show at the fair, and so I did. I sat up there and played 3 or 4 songs with him, and then as soon as he walked off stage, he asked me if I would play the Opry with him. And I said, of course, that would be a dream come true. And and so he said, well, I want you to play the Opry with me, but I want it to be at the Ryman. And so, they play at the Ryman from October until February. Right. And so he gave me a call that January, a few months later, and he wanted to know if I could be there, that February and play the last show of the year at the Ryman. And again, the night that I got there for sound check, I did not know Earl was going to be there. And so Marty called Earl, to come play, because of course he recognized where I'd gotten the guitar licks. And it was so great. I mean, I got there, early in the day at the Ryman, and we did sound check around 4 or 5. And then Earl let me hang out with him in his dressing room, and we just picked and talked, and he showed me licks and kind of, sparked up this friendship with Earl. And so that led into me meeting Rob. And but yeah, that night at the Opry was absolutely unforgettable for me. And still thanks so much to Marty for that.
Were you nervous?
I don't think I was. I can't really remember, but I think it was before I knew better than to get nervous.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah. That is one of the good things about youth. Sometimes you don't know that you're supposed to be nervous.
Exactly. Exactly. I think there was a moment, before I started playing, that there was a little bit of nervousness, but it passed pretty quick. I mean, just being on there with my heroes was, it was very, very cool moment.
Do you remember what you played by chance?
Yeah, I played Jimmy Brown, the Newsboy.
Okay.
Yeah, the way, or tried to it the way Earl did it, and
yeah.
And yeah, so I guess a month after I played the Opry with Earl, he called me to play at the Tennessee Theater for the first time with him, and a few years later was when I met Rob there. But,
okay.
Anytime Earl was passing through East Tennessee or Kentucky or North Carolina,
Right.
or anywhere around there, he'd give me a call and let me come sit in with him.
Oh, that's too cool, really. I mean,
Yeah, man, that was definitely a highlight for me.
I'd say that would be, yeah. That really is. I think living here in Cleveland County, everybody has an Earl story and has been around him, and he's a pretty special guy.
Yeah, man, he just so kind, and yeah, I mean, he definitely inspirational to my music and my career in a lot of ways.
One of the stories. So there's a local musician here. His name's Dan Paget, and Dan used to fill in with Flat and Scruggs.
Oh, wow!
And he was playing with them when they went to do the. He would fill in for Earl, but when they went to do the Beverly Hillbillies, Earl was on vacation, but he flew in. But Dan was still there, and they did it. It was like a 14-hour day, and they gave them 2 bow ties. In case they got messed up, they had 2. So I'm interviewing him, and he goes and comes back, and he says, "This is one of the bow ties from, when they did the Beverly Hillbillies. There was 2 of them, and Earl's wife has one, and I have one, and she kept the pristine, the one that was pristine, and she gave me the original one, and you could see makeup. I have a picture of it. I'll send it to you, but of the bow tie with the makeup on it from it, and I thought it was one of the coolest things I'd ever seen.
Oh, that is awesome, man! Yeah, that is way cool.
And Earl went back on vacation after that, and Dan kept playing, on with Flat and Scruggs till the vacation was over. So
that is awesome, man.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, this is a Banjoville, Cleveland County, North Carolina.
Yeah, man, that's the heart of it.
Yeah, you can shake a tree and a lot of good ones fall out. I mean, I think there's also a Ralph Stanley story here where he was here, and there's across from the Don Gibson Theater, there's a music store, and his band members were over there playing, but the banjo player was sick. Well, he wound up with appendicitis, and Ralph called one of his band members and said, "Is there a banjo player over there?" Come to find out, yeah. They said, yeah, he's left-handed, and he's really good. And so the boy went and they said, "Does he have a white shirt?" And he said, "Well, I can get a white shirt." And he's a left-handed banjo player, and he went out there sight unseen, never played with him, played the show with them, and went on with his life,
I love the priorities there.
Oh, yeah, white shirt.
Does he have a white shirt?
Yeah. So that was, that's all they needed, I guess, if he could, because I think he was over there, playing Ralph Stanley stuff since they were all jamming, and that was Ralph Stanley's band for the most part over there. So
yeah, man, that's
so
that's awesome.
All right, let's start. You were tell them what your IBMA award nomination was for this year.
Yeah, that was this year, or 2020, I guess.
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah, guitar player of the year. That really blew my mind. I did not expect that at all, and was so excited for that. And I couldn't think of any group that I could be more excited about being in the group with, than the other 4. And it was so awesome. And I was again just really grateful to everybody that voted, because it was one of those things that I never always dreamed of having my name on that list,
right?
But never expected it at all, and and so that was really cool.
I mean, and pretty fast too.
Yeah. I mean, it's this was I think I've been on the big list a couple times, but never on the 5.
Right.
And so I remember just.
I guess since
Thrilled
it
to see
was
that.
virtual, you didn't get to go to IBMA either, did you?
I did not. The first year I didn't get to go. I got nominated. So, but that was cool. We sat at home and watched it, and of course I love Jake Workman's playing so much.
Jake
and
is good,
definitely cheered for him when he got it, and he's one of my favorite people to hear pick or to get to pick with, and so I was, like I said, I mean any of the four other ones, I was just so thrilled to be in the group with them, and I mean I love the IBMA. They've been one of those things that I looked forward to every year as a kid, was going to IBMA, and I still do. And
that's not the first time either. I mean, you won an IBMA award, did you not?
Yeah, so I guess I've won a couple of them so I won the first one with Bobby Osborne for being on his track, Got to Get a Message to You.
Yeah.
And then the second one was with Special Consensus for Rob and I were on their that Fireball cut.
Right.
And so it won. I think both of those won for recorded event of the year, maybe. So that was cool, and love the IBMA.
Then we jump past the IBMA to you've had a Grammy nomination also, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So that first record that Rob and I did was nominated for a Grammy, and talk about being taken by surprise for that one. I remember because we put out that record, and like I said, I mean, we recorded it, and we've done 3 records, right, and all 3 of them have been totally live in the studio with no overdubs at all. But that one especially, we were just sitting around in a circle picking. And of course, I'm very proud of that record. But I know we totally did not expect it to be nominated for a Grammy. And I've got a 5-year-old daughter, and she was a newborn at the time. And I remember that the morning that we found out, I think I was changing a diaper, and I heard my phone. It was just going crazy, texts and calls, and about 30 minutes later, when I was able to check my phone, I realized what had happened. And but that was super cool. And same for that, man. We were nominated with Ralph, right, and with Doyle Lawson and the Steel Drivers. It was just such a great group, and
that's pretty heady company to win over too, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, that was such a cool thing, and just to get to hang at the. Did you
get to go to the Grammys?
Yeah, I sure did, man. We hung out, and of course they have the Bluegrass Grammys. The vast majority of the Grammys get given out before the televised portion. Yeah. But it's still a great thing, And then we went to the other Grammys that night, and one of the highlights was I love Tony Bennett.
Yeah.
And
really?
I got to see Tony Bennett, and that was pretty cool. And then Alice Cooper was on the show that night, and I have this great memory of Tony Bennett putting his fingers in his ears when Alice Cooper was on stage. that was really the highlight of the Grammys for me.
Wait, how's the bluegrass guy become a Tony Bennett fan?
Oh man, I love everything. I just listen to music all the time, and I have a lot of different genres and stuff I love, and but that was pretty cool.
Okay, well, back to these records that you've done. I mean, since that's a sitting around one type thing, how did you choose which songs to take in there?
Well, so the first one, I don't know that we had like a clear roadmap.
Right.
We had, I had written a few things that ended up on the record.
Right.
And then so that one's like half and half, like half acoustic and half electric.
Right.
But a lot of it was just stuff that we picked. I think Rob and I had only done one show, quote unquote show at the Station Inn.
At
like
that
a month.
time.
Yeah, at that time we'd only done one thing together, and we picked a time or two at his house, with the band that's on the record. but we hadn't really like planned material or anything like that. And so we just kind of went in and I think we did 16, 17 songs, and then just narrowed it down to, I think there's 13 tracks on that record, but so we had quite a few left over. And then for the second record, we were a little more organized. We had songs picked out, but we still recorded like 15 tracks,
right?
And then only 12 of them made it. So the first two records, we had a lot of songs kind of left over that still haven't been released.
Right.
And then for the third one, this the World Full of Blues record, so we actually had a producer on it. The great Brett Mayer produced it. And so we had the exact number of songs that were going to be on the record. And so that's the first record, I guess, what we've done that we've not had extra tunes for.
Well, I will have to tell you, I am a real big fan of your Brown Eyed Women. That's awfully good. Yeah, your guitar,
oh, thank you very much.
Your guitar break is fabulous. It's a great take on that song.
Oh, thank you very much. That was fun, and that was it was cool to get Vince Gill to sing on that one. And Vince is, I guess he sang on all three of our records at this point. But yeah, I love Vince.
Was Taj Mahal on that one too?
Yeah, Taj. Well, he wasn't on that track, but he was on.
I know, but was he on that project?
Yeah, sure was on World Full of Blues. He's on the title track, and he does an awesome intro track to the title track. I love Taj.
Yeah, Taj. He's a cool guy. Yeah, I mean, that is one of the things I do like about what you're doing. It is bluegrass without a doubt, but it's I guess I call it modern bluegrass because it is. I like the fact that you include so many people with that. That is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it kind of before. I mean, because we've got drums on the record,
right?
But a lot of my favorite bluegrass records had drums on them. The Osborne Brothers, and Flat Scruggs, and even Jimmy Martin.
True. Yeah.
But some of this more recent stuff we've done has it's blurred the lines a little bit between Americana and blues and bluegrass and country, and but we just kind of like everything, and so we just play and don't really try to think about the genre too much. I think it always has the bluegrass spirit.
Yeah, I think it does. I really do think it. How about so how is playing electric different than playing acoustic for you?
I heard Jerry Douglas sum it up pretty perfectly. It's like the difference between using a handsaw to cut down a tree or using an electric saw.
Yeah.
It's two totally different things.
It is really. Yeah.
You would think they were pretty similar, but and I'm not. I don't think electric is necessarily easier than playing acoustic. It's its own thing for sure, but I will say that for a few years before Rob and I played, I mean, I mainly played electric. So I played bluegrass,
right?
And then I had several electric bands there for a short period of time. And when I went back to playing acoustic guitar, man, it hurt.
Oh yeah,
You're not used to that, and you kind of so yeah, it's different. And when we play the Station Inn, we do both. We'll play half acoustic and half electric, and we'll play acoustic first, and then when I switch over to electric, man, it feels like I'm going to break the neck off my telly, But,
yeah, and is it harder for you to get your tone? I mean, do you have a tone shift with that? Is that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's I go from playing 13 gauge strings on acoustic guitar and a big blue chip pick,
right?
And then I go over to my electric, and it's got light gauge 10,
right?
And,
10, yeah.
And a light pick, and like I said, I mean, those first few songs, especially, it feels like I'm knocking the guitar out of tune.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure every bend is almost overbent. So
exactly, yeah.
Bending
to the moon.
Yeah. So, but that that's good though. I think a lot of times, particularly bluegrass players, get pigeonholed in that they only play acoustic guitar, and that's That's really not so, though. I mean, I've seen electric guitars with Earl plenty of times. So
Yeah, I think Earl was a big influence on that, and I loved country music as much as I did
sure,
bluegrass. But I didn't necessarily play country music. I
right.
just played bluegrass, and but hearing Albert Lee play with Earl was a big influence. Or hearing the ways Earl pushed the genre through the
Right.
years.
Yeah.
It was definitely influential.
And I'm sure Randy and his sons had a lot to do with that, kind of like Dale too.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm sure so. It's well, you can definitely hear that, at the end of the Flat and Scruggs era stuff,
yeah,
and
you can.
into the Earl Scruggs review, and yeah.
Yeah, that's well, now how about let's go with the Johnny Cash story of your life.
Yeah, that happened not long after the Opry. The first place I played, that I ever played was, well, it wasn't the first place I ever played, but it was after the first few weeks that I picked up a guitar. I played at the Carter Family Fold out in Hilton's, Virginia.
Right.
And of course, really famous place in the history of country music.
Sure,
and
it is.
And at the time, it was being run by Jeanette Carter and Joe, who were sons and daughters of AP and Sarah.
Right.
And so Jeanette was kind enough to let me play during the intermission on some of their Carter Fold shows, and just really took me under her wing. And I guess it was probably 2002, right after I played the Opry, that she called me early in the week one week, and she wanted to know if I was going to be at the Carter Fold that Saturday night. And I said, yeah, I'm planning on being there. And she said, great. Don't let anybody know, but Johnny and June are coming. And, I really want them to hear you play. And, oh yeah, I'll definitely be there. And so, yeah, I went that Saturday night and got there super early, and sure enough, 4 or 5 o'clock, Johnny Cash and June Carter Cash roll in, and I sat back there in the dressing room with them for a while, and of course they went out and did some of the songs, and during the intermission I came out and I did a couple songs, and one of them was "Storms on the Ocean," the old Carter Family tune.
Oh yeah.
And so if you've been to the Carter Fold, the stage, they have pews on the very back of the stage,
right?
Where at the time, a lot of the remaining Carter family would sit and watch the show, and so Jeanette and Joe would always sit out there, and that night, Jeanette and Joe and John and June were out there, and so when I went out to sing my songs, and during Storms on the Ocean, kind of unbeknownst to me, John had asked for a microphone, and so he, during the chorus of the song, just started singing harmony, and so of course I'm in front of them and I can't see what's happening, but all of a sudden I just hear Johnny Cash's voice coming out of the monitor, and singing this song, and I just still remember, getting chills.
Oh yeah, chicken skin all over the place on that, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the next Saturday night they were still in town, and so I came back out and played. Again, I can't remember what songs I played with them that night,
right.
But and then I guess I don't know if it was about a week later. I got a call. I just got home from school. And I was sitting in my room doing homework, and the phone rings, and my mom got it, and I remember she came into my room and said, "It's for you," and he says it's Johnny Cash, and so I got the phone, and it was Johnny, and he wanted to know if I would come play at June's birthday party, and so, yeah, I went out there and played at Mother Maybell's house out in Hilton, Virginia, and played for what would sadly be June's last birthday party.
Right.
And that's how I met Tom T. Hall. And kind of thanks to Johnny Cash, Tom T. Hall produced and engineered and recorded my first CD when I was 12 or 13, I guess. And
wow, that's pretty fabulous, really.
Yeah, it was just really cool. And they were, so Johnny and June were getting ready to do another record. They were going to do like a lot of the Carter family stuff.
Right.
The two of them. And they asked me to play guitar on a couple of songs. I don't know how many I would have ended up playing on, but
right.
Sadly that never happened. I did go over to their house in Hilton's and practiced quite a few times. And I know some of that stuff got recorded. I'd love to hear it, but I've never have. But yeah, just getting to spend time with them was just so amazing. And yeah, everything you would hope that they would be, they absolutely were.
That's a wonderful thing to hear. I have a friend here in Charlotte. He's in Charlotte, but he was their official photographer for there, Daniel Costin, and he said they were everything that you'd ever think they were supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, just so nice. And I remember the few times that I went over there, he would always have, just a lot of guitars, a lot of them just, like pawn shop guitars or whatever.
Right.
And he would have me look over, some of them, some of the Martins or whatever, and
right.
tune them up and play them. And, but yeah, I mean, just getting to be around them. Of course, that both of their music was just such a huge part of my life, and I was already such a huge fan, and I mean, you can't not love the Carter family or Johnny Cash.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know a person here who has a tattoo of Johnny Cash on their leg and a son named Cash.
So, that's cool. That's cool, man.
So, it's funny how your music affects people sometimes. I mean,
I know, man. And he definitely, I've always heard about it before, people with an aura or just a presence that you can't describe. And he had that. I mean, I've honestly never felt it as strong as I did the first or second time I was with them. He came into a room, and I swear I had my back turned, and you knew he was there before you ever saw him. I mean, it was just one of those things where it's like, and honestly, I haven't felt it as strong. I've felt it, in other times at the Opry or whatever, with people, but man, Johnny Cash was something special.
Yeah, he was. I mean, I met him a couple of times, and yeah, he was almost intimidating to me,
Yeah.
To
be the nicest guy on the planet, and he was so big, just so tall.
Right. Yeah, I know. And he did have that, and he was really nice, but you're sitting there like holding your breath, almost afraid to say anything. So.
Yeah, it's there's a great documentary I watched about this really famous recording studio out in LA called Sound City.
Yeah.
And the documentary is really good, but there's a part in it where Tom Petty was it's kind of where Rick Rubin did all his recording, and so Johnny Cash did a few of those American records out there.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And one of them, with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers playing on it. But they talk about that because there was one day that Carl Perkins came in, and just the presence between Carl Perkins and Johnny Cash, and you could probably powered LA with that energy.
Yeah, probably you could have. So what you got coming up?
Sitting at the house quite a bit. No, doing a lot of recording, here in Nashville. I play on other people's records. Rob and I have about 3 songs cut for our new record. And we're getting ready to go back in the studio pretty soon and finish it. And yeah, we're doing a live stream here in a couple weeks with Taj Mahal, doing a couple songs on it. And yeah, a couple of live streams coming up next month with Tommy Emmanuel.
Yeah.
We did worked on an EP with him that will, be coming out in a month or two. And, yeah, I mean, overall, during all this, we've been staying busy. It's surprising all the live gigs have gone, but yeah, I've been working a lot in the studios and playing on any and everything, and I'm having a great time. I haven't really got to explore the studio musician side of things as much as I possibly would like to of the past few years. So this is the bright side of being home has been getting to do that. So yeah.
Do you miss traveling, or has that time home been good?
It's one of those things that I always kind of looked at traveling as a necessary evil, not necessarily that it's evil, but I've got a family, I've got a 5-year-old and got a wife, and I'm sort of a homebody regardless. And so it always took some effort for me to travel. But I mean, Rob and I play a lot. I mean,
we do play a lot.
We were playing over 100 gigs a year and traveling a lot. And we had a really busy 2020, because we just put out our record.
Right.
And so, yeah, part of me definitely misses it. What I miss is playing.
Yeah, that's what everybody
4 people. I miss playing 4 people and with other people.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's both. It's fun to play with other people, but it's a whole lot of fun to play with other people for people.
Exactly. That's the beauty of the whole thing. There's an energy that, and I've been trying to stay in practice, and I'll do some. My daughter loves to come up and we'll do like a little live stream thing for where you feel like you're playing for somebody, right. And she'll come up and sing a few songs, and that's been a fun part of quarantine and being home. So
right. I guess you haven't been affected by it. You haven't had it or anything.
Luckily, we have stayed very healthy. We're all good, knock on wood, and wish the same for everybody else. It's I've known a lot of people that have had it, and a lot of people that have been affected by it.
Yeah, and I have 1 dose of vaccine, which I guess just says I'm an old person, but
hey, great, man, great.
So
that's awesome.
It does take a little bit of the worry off,
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's always a good thing. Well, it sounds like you have still plenty going on, and that you've made the best of the music life during the pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's a learning curve for everybody, and as long as we're all staying healthy and safe, it's I guess anything is good. So yeah. Who I hear the biggest complaints from are booking agents. Yeah, man. I mean, it's it's dried up everything for everybody.
Yeah, it has. I mean, I think people see the music part a little bit these days, but they don't see the outlying parts of the music business. There's a lot of moving parts. There is a lot of moving parts that people are unaware of. If you haven't done that, and poor road managers, I don't know what they do. I have no idea.
I know it's well, we have a manager and booking agents, and yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I feel that for everybody that's been affected, with all this going on. So hopefully we're on the road to better days.
Yeah, I hope we are. Well, I know you're a really busy guy. Have we missed anything we need to talk about?
I'm not sure. I think we've hit a lot of good things.
Yeah, we've hit a lot of good things. I mean, I know you played on a ton of records with other people.
Yeah. Anybody needs some guitar, give me a call.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, you're available at the moment?
I am, yeah. I've got a home studio rig.
All right. All right, my listeners, listen, you better get him now, because he's going to be a busy man. You got your you're working on that CD at home. Hey, we'll hook you up.
Give me a call.
Yeah, we'll hook you up. I'll hook you up, and for a nice sum of money, he will play on your record and make it sound. For more money, he'll probably sing too. So
that's right.
So if you would like to upgrade your sound, Trey says he's available. So
that's right. Yeah, just shoot me an email.
Yeah. So there you go. All you guys playing over on the court square, here you go. Here's your chance to get a real guitarist to play with you and a real vocalist. A Grammy nominated one at that too. You better get him now because he's going to be really busy when this stuff's over.
Oh goodness.
Well, you got websites and all. Go ahead and tell them about that.
Yeah, so it's basically just TreyHensley.com or Robin Trey is our duo page, and then I'm on everything from. I've got a YouTube channel which is YouTube/Trey Hensley, and then the rest of my social media stuff is just Trey A. Hensley, and that'll get you to everything from Twitter and Instagram and all that good stuff.
Well, that's wonderful. I do think that you're a great emerging artist, and you're very young, so you got years ahead of you. I can't wait to see where this goes.
Well, I appreciate that, Sandy. I mean, I really appreciate you having me on your podcast. This is great.
It's great for me too. I wish you nothing but the best. If you're this way, let me know. We'll hook you up at the Scruggs Center.
Would love to. Love everything y'all are doing.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Hey, thank you.
All right. Talk to you.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Sheriff's on my trail. If he catches up with me, I'll spend my life in jail. I got a wife in Chino, babe, and one in Cherokee. The first one said she's got my job, but it don't look like me. Said I'll really better take my time. A friend of the devil is a friend of mine. If I get home before daylight, I just might get some sleep tonight.